Hi there. My name is Foong. I'm from the United States of America. And here I am trying to give you a little bit of insight about me to get to know me a little bit better. And I'm going to go ahead and try to answer some of the questions that you provided, and hopefully that I can do it within the 8 minutes allotted. Um, One of the favorite things I like being about a teacher is, as most teachers, I would imagine, when you see the look on the student's face when they hit that moment of understanding, and it's that pure joy and excitement, and that you feel like you've made that difference in their life, and they've grasped the concept and they've succeeded, and it's just probably one of the most purest forms of just proud moments that I've had. Um, One of the challenges, again, that I guess that comes back to the favorite thing about it is, um, when you try to help a student succeed and to see the struggles, to see them not understanding, or to see them just not getting the work. I think that's probably one of the hardest things in wanting to help them feel that they've accomplished, and trying to get them to see that success. I think that makes it challenging because if you can't do it, you feel like a failure. And I think no one wants to feel like a failure. So I think that's where, for me, it's one of the hardest and most challenging things to feel that if I can't help a student succeed, I feel like I failed. And that's what makes it challenging for me in my perspective. Number three, what I think is challenging about learning a new language. As if with anything new, trying to understand and trying to learn, it's hard. It's like learning to crawl before you take steps, before you start trying to run. Hearing intonations, hearing a word that sounds exactly the same to you, but when in reality it's several different intonations, changing it to different words. I think that is probably the hardest part about learning a new language. But eventually, with repetition, with consistency, and hearing things over and over, you do start to hear the differences, and those tones, those intonations, things like that is what helps you get adjusted to a new language and to eventually adapt and learn. And that's how I feel about, you know, how hard it is to learn a new language. So, number four, I feel like number four and number five are kind of something that I've done in the past, where, the time that I made a mistake with a student versus my perspective on error correction in the classroom. Wanting to see the student succeed so much that you kind of sometimes, or for me, you forget to give them the opportunity to fail in order for them to learn. And in order for them to learn, sometimes they need to fail. So that way they know that that is wrong, and that they would make that mistake again. And in the past, like, wanting to help a student so bad and correcting them right away, or not giving them the opportunity to make that mistake, or so that way they could learn from that mistake. And it comes back to, perspective of wanting them to succeed so much that you forget that it's from their perspective and not yours. And, I try to use my own examples as sometimes when I make a mistake, well, sometimes I need to make the mistake so big that I remember that I will never make it again. And I think same goes for a student to make those mistakes, whether they pronounce it wrong, whether they use it in the wrong context, that they need to know that that is something that they will eventually learn in the long haul. And it's okay to make those mistakes. And again, making those mistakes is what happens. And then that's how you learn. So with four and five, my perspective now in the error correction is to kind of let them fall a little bit, and then kind of from there, take those steps back and retrieve and kind of like, hey, how did you feel about this? Why do you think this is? Or why do you think that you answered it this way? Do you think that maybe doing it this way might be a better approach in going from there? And I think that just from my perspective, I think that I've learned over the course to kind of give them that opportunity to correct themselves. And in the long run, they will learn and they will memorize it and they'll learn to put that into play, learning that new language. Um, what can I do? What would I do as, or could I do if a student seems nervous or untalkative? I've learned over the years, there's so many personalities, there's so many people out there with so many perspective in life. And someone who's so outgoing versus someone who's so quiet. I learned to kind of step back and let them do their thing. And for the quieter ones, I usually allow them to have that peace and quiet on their own and then work with them one on one to get them to try to either open up or discuss. Um, from perspective, there are going to be the louder students that are the more outgoing, the more talkative, the ones that always want to contribute versus the ones that are quiet, the ones that don't want to speak, or the ones that don't want to uh, speak in class, speak in front of everyone, speak in front of a group. And maybe they will when it comes to maybe a smaller group and they'll feel more comfortable voicing their opinion or voicing their concerns, things like that. And so over the years, I've learned to not push that too much. Um, Down the line, once you get used to them, once they get used to you, then maybe seeing where their comfort lies and maybe help them push them along a little bit. But from the get-go, I don't think that it's something that I would pursue to push them to be more talkative until I get to know them. And then again, it would be case by case basis because some children are just quieter than others. Um, is company culture important to me? Why? Why not? It is. There's perspective from all sorts, and that's how you learn. So that's why I find it's important to have sometimes having internal peace and quiet helps you learn as well. So, and trying to wrap things up, what I want to learn more about Craving English. I'd like to learn more about the culture and what I can do to help make this more successful for the students, more successful for the company, and how I can help um, move this forward. I really appreciate your time. Take care. Bye bye.